Exclusive contract with Feilu Novel Network Novel. Entertainment exploration. I play the little brother and never collapse the house. To rectify the chaos in the entertainment industry, Dragon Country has launched 100 Days of Survival on a Desolate Island. Summon 12 well-known celebrities to go to the deserted island for a 24-hour live broadcast. Just as Su Qi was traveling, he was forcibly arranged by the company and unexpectedly awakened the young man template. Stepping on a deserted island, I found that this program was far more terrifying than I had imagined. Highly toxic ancient dragon lizards, immortal insects that can spray poison mist, and corpse ants that devour humans. The eerie mermaid sacrificial pit actually involves a 1,000-year-old tomb and the ultimate secret realm. During the program, celebrities were stripped of their disguises and exposed their most authentic selves, causing fans to exclaim about the collapse of their homes. Only Su Qi, holding a black and golden ancient sword, the Qilin steps on the fire and burns the wind, dripping blood to suppress evil, the ghost seal palm yin and yang, instantly attracting countless fans. Wu Jing said, cutting dragon lizards with bare hands, do you call this little fresh meat? Reba. As a witness, Su's fingers are really long. Cai Ji. Why do I often have tears in my eyes? It's just because Su Ji's skills are too beautiful. Feilu Novel Network reminds you that this novel and its characters are purely fictional. If there are any similarities, they are purely coincidental and should not be imitated. Chapter 1. Receiving the Contract, Awakening the Little Brother Template. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 1. Receiving the Contract, Awakening the Little Brother Template. Su Qi, it's been almost 10 years since you debuted, right? The company has been treating you well, but what about you? I worked hard to talk to you about resources, but the resulting works were either banned or banned. Which one has been kept until now? A beautiful woman in professional attire, with a devilish figure about to emerge, is patting the table and gambling. Su Qi listened to her series of scoldings, but was stunned. With a sudden expression, he looked around at the unfamiliar and familiar environment, and finally recognized the fact. Am I traveling? Just as I muttered something in my heart, memories flooded in my mind like a tide. This is a parallel world called Blue Star, where I am currently in the Dragon Kingdom. I am currently a contracted artist for Songa Media Company. And the imposing iceberg beauty in front of her is one of the bosses of Songa Media Company. Li Bing. Back in the day, Su Qi relied on his aloof image and his temperament of not being close to strangers. Li Bing, the female boss of Songa Media, immediately caught her eye and tried her best to sign a contract with her. From then on, I entered the entertainment industry and obtained many high-quality resources from the beginning, collaborating with major celebrities and experts. However, the most outrageous thing is whether it's a movie or a TV series they participated in filming, the collaborating actors would collapse their houses for various reasons. Even worse, I have been stepping on the sewing machine day and night. At present, several works are all spared, leaving only a meager amount of fame. It can be said that he has been in the industry for 10 years, but he still returns as a newcomer. Recalling these, Su Qi looked up at Li Bing in front of him. His cold and profound eyes exude a timeless temperament. At just one glance, Li Bing was stunned, as if his anger had dissipated a bit. She has always attached great importance to Su Qi, believing that his unique temperament alone is enough to make a name for himself in the entertainment industry, setting him apart from other popular influencers by several streets. Unfortunately, luck is not favorable. After working hard for several years, I haven't left a representative work behind. Li Bing looked at Su Qi's face and didn't know how to get angry with him for a moment. I had to let out a faint sigh and turned my head to appease him, saying, but it's not entirely your fault for this. Blame it on those male actors who are in the same frame as you. Each one is a worm that can't control itself. After speaking, Li Bing hesitated and handed over a contract from the table. Now that the top management of the company is putting pressure, this may be your only opportunity. I'm not sure if I can make you angry at this last minute. Suchi noticed the unusual expression on the other person's face and took a look at the contract with his slender fingers. Above is the contract for 100 days of survival on a deserted island. This is a variety show live broadcast program currently being vigorously promoted by Longwa officials. Each economic company needs to select a candidate, totaling 12 well-known artists, to participate in a 24-hour survival live broadcast on a deserted island for a period of 100 days. Li Bing was still explaining in front of him, speaking to Su Qi in detail. From the current perspective, this program should receive considerable attention. I have already asked for you. Although all of your works have been banned, there is still data available on the radio and television station. Just meets the minimum requirements for participating in the program. Li Bing stopped abruptly halfway through his words, with a hint of apology on his face. Obviously, this program is not as good as she said, and with a guilty heart, she said. Alas, other artists in the company are all trying their best to avoid selecting themselves. Finding each person's own support is truly the utmost. Looking at the entire company, only Su Qi had to provide his own guarantee. There's really nothing he can do this time. At this point, Su Qi also opened the contract and briefly reviewed it. Survival on a deserted island, whispered in secret, and soon the key point was discovered. And also expose these well-known artists to the camera 24 hours a day. Sigh. Dragon Kingdom has played a big game this time. This is almost to expose the true face of little fresh meat and female celebrities. And it also forces major brokerage firms to select candidates to participate. It's really a bit interesting. Suchi thought to himself. Just then, a mechanical sound came from my ear. Detected that the host has obtained the qualification for survival on a deserted island. The all-around simulation system is awakened. Choose to sign the contract to unlock the stolen Pen Zhang Qilin template. Choose to abandon the contract to unlock the beggar's sect Su Qier template. Upon hearing the sound of system awakening, Su Qi's heart was filled with joy. Sure enough, the golden finger arrived late. But come to my senses and listen carefully to these two options. It seems that if you don't survive on a deserted island, you will have to terminate your contract and go begging on the street. By comparison, it is obvious that the former is much better. Su Qi already had an answer in his heart. Seeing that Su Qi had not spoken up to give a reply, Li Bing sighed and said. I also know that this program is not that simple. Once we land on the island, we will be exposed to the camera for the next 100 days. In this situation, no one has the intention to maintain their persona. Not only does it reveal its true nature, it may even reveal the ugliest side of human nature to fans in front of the camera. Even if you usually look like you're a quiet person, what might happen on the island is uncertain. So it can also be considered a risky move. Upon hearing Li Bing's words, Su Qi had long realized the danger of this program. If according to the contract, the production team will not even provide the most basic guarantee. It's possible to tear your face for a bite of food then. It is estimated that no other artist in the company dared to take on this job, which is why this quota was assigned to him. However, Su Qi didn't take this seriously. Isn't it just the variety shows that make the rest of the company's fresh meat turn pale? I have been in the industry for 10 years, and there are no panties left that have been banned for my work. Now there is almost no difference from ordinary people, let alone the collapse of their character. As my grandfather once said, I cannot collapse, because I am already a ruin. Without hesitation, Su Qi calmly uttered a few words. No problem, I can go. And as soon as his words fell, he couldn't wait to see the reaction of Li Bing on the other side clearly. A mechanical sound echoed in my ear once again. Congratulations to the host for completing the selection and successfully awakening the Zhang Qilin template. Reward the Kirin Tattoo. The current imitation progress is 30%. The strength has been synchronized with 30%. As the system sound fell, Su Qi only felt a warm current rising from his body. Immediately afterwards, a scorching heat came from the left shoulder. This scorching heat spread rapidly, almost spreading throughout most of the upper body. Su Qigong felt a bit of pain from eating, but that feeling quickly dissipated. Instead, it is the power that bursts out from all over the body. In addition, the original body management was quite good, and now the muscles all over the body have become much stronger. Not bad, Su Qi thought to himself with joy. After signing the contract, I turned around to leave the office. If it's okay, I'll leave first. But Li Bing looked at Su Qi standing up with a somewhat dull expression. She clearly felt an inexplicable improvement in Su Qi's temperament. Compared to the previous feeling of isolation, it has now become even more mysterious and profound. There is even an extraordinary taste of non-human fireworks. Li Bing was stunned by his cold and stern face, and unconsciously, layers of ripples welled up in his heart. Looking at Su Qi's back, he whispered. This kid, no one dares to go, why did he agree so easily? Not to mention, his figure seems to have become quite sturdy lately. Su Qigong walked out of the office, still holding a copy of the contract in his hand. But I found a group of people outside the door, mostly young male artists with thin arms and legs. They were all wearing makeup on their faces, scanning Su Qi back and forth. When they saw the contract they were holding in their hands, the anxious hearts of these artists noticeably relaxed. With an expected smile, they all sneered and said, "Yo, isn't this Brother Qi? He's an old master of songs. It's been 10 years since I debuted, and I can't even produce a decent work. It's truly a benchmark in the industry." Then he shifted his attention to the main topic and stared at the contract proposal, saying, "Look at this." Bing Jie finished talking to him and sent him to participate in the program. TSK, some people don't really think this is an opportunity to turn red, do they? I heard that the Dragon Kingdom official is going to play for real this time. The production team just sent people to the island and arranged for a few photographers to follow, nothing else. Still hoping to ride the heat with the other 11 celebrities' survival on deserted islands. I'm not sure what kind of embarrassment will happen then. Su Qi listened to these words of fresh meat with a disdainful smile from the bottom of his heart. It seems that with my current strength, I can easily push down a piece with just one finger. I didn't talk nonsense to them either, but there was a hint of curiosity and anticipation in my heart. 11 more candidates. Who would they all be? Chapter 2. The Wilting Yu Qian. Begging for flowers. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 2. The Wilting Yu Qian. Go. I'll definitely go. Wu Jing was drinking at Yu Qian's house in a villa in Kyoto. I just received a call from my agent at the table. He was instructed to participate in the survival program on that deserted island. This intention is quite obvious. It's just about finding some tough male actors to deal with other fresh meat guests. It's best to have the ability to survive in the wild and provide an additional layer of security. Wu Jing, who rose to fame with his tough soldier line, has also made comments on the feminization chaos in the entertainment industry. Undoubtedly, it is the most suitable candidate. After receiving the phone call, Mr. and Mrs. Yu Qian, as well as Xie Nan, all turned their heads in the room. Upon seeing this, Wu Jing raised his tone and blinked at Xie Nan on the sofa not far away. Another peacock patted its chest like a peacock, promising. Isn't it just survival on a deserted island? It's only 100 days. It's nothing at all. This statement indeed attracted the admiration of Xie Nan. The agent on the other end of the phone was also surprised and instead brought up another matter. Let me recommend someone else to go. Wu Jing muttered upon hearing this. Is it still necessary to have a positive image? To establish a good atmosphere for the audience. As the phone hung up, Wu Jing took a sip from his glass and said displeased. Where can I find it in such a short time? Mr. Qian, who was sitting across from him, touched his cup and said knowingly. Why, do you have to pull someone else in? Seeing that Wu Jing nodded somewhat dejectedly, Uncle Qian took a sip of his wine and said. Hey, isn't my inner son also quite willing to participate in variety shows? He doesn't talk talk well all day long. It's really not possible. You can bring him over too. Your son. Wu Jing was stunned. Are you talking about Xiaojie? No, Uncle Qian chewed a piece of peanuts and said with a seemingly calm expression on his face, internally, Delina. Wu Jing chuckled and looked at Yu Qian, who pretended to be expressionless and seemed to be talking about something serious. In my heart, this humble uncle is really wilting. Ethical wise, come on. He suddenly smiled on his face and patted his thigh, saying. Qilin. This is it. What? Are you going to put me on a deserted island for 100 days? No, I won't go to this show even if I die. In a certain basketball practice room, Cai Ji, who was wearing a center point, was complaining to the agent, with a coquettish and unwilling expression on his face. However, the agent was also helpless at this moment. She knows Cai Ji very well and understands that if he were to participate in a program on a deserted island, he would definitely create a disheveled and immature appearance. He, Cai Ji, attracted a group of fans with his oily and powdery appearance. Once on the island for less than a few days, it is bound to cause large-scale powder shedding. The agent didn't want to find anyone to replace him, but unfortunately, there was a call from the top. Although it appears that many brokerage firms choose their own candidates, there have already been candidates available. This program undoubtedly aims to expose these fresh meat artists to fans. The agent couldn't help but feel helpless when he thought about these things, and to be honest, he said. Kunkin, do you think I want you to go? To be honest, many of the candidates who participated in this program were named by the authorities. You are one of them. Then, the agent also spoke harshly. The situation is now very clear, either you go to the program or you won't get any resources in the future. You can handle it yourself. Upon hearing his agent's words, Cai Ji couldn't escape. I had to helplessly hang my head down and tug at my hair in pain, saying. Short oil, what are you doing? When a group of fresh meat in the entertainment industry fails to avoid this variety show in a timely manner, however, some people were quite interested in it and took the initiative to request a program planning proposal. Surviving on a deserted island. And it's also a program that the Dragon Kingdom government is vigorously promoting. In the black nanny car, Reba looked at the proposal and exclaimed in surprise. But the little assistant beside her was frightened by her words and turned pale, thinking to himself. Reba. Shouldn't she want to be on this show? Feeling flustered, he quickly dissuaded and said, Oh my, sister Reba, this variety show is not that simple. Didn't you see that so many artists have been busy answering announcements lately? They just pointed to entering the group early to shoot, so they could pick themselves out. Ah. Upon hearing this, Reba couldn't help feeling a little puzzled. After all, I have been working at a high intensity during this period, filming several scenes in a row. I feel like my head is going to break while memorizing lines, and now I finally have a chance to relax. Did other artists turn a blind eye to this program? I couldn't help but wonder. Isn't this a reality show? It's just survival on a deserted island with the show crew. I've seen similar things before. And I think the unmanned island environment chosen by the program team this time is good, and the air must be good too. You don't have to memorize your lines when you go. It's better than signing contracts and joining the group randomly, right? Upon hearing this, the assistant quickly shook his head like a tambourine. I thought to myself that Miss Reba was really innocent and didn't understand the intentions behind the show. This will survive on a deserted island for 100 days, or it will be live 24 hours a day. Don't say how embarrassed it will be then, even if you shout tired, you will probably be infinitely magnified by malicious black fans. What is participating in a variety show? A vivid mirror of the entertainment industry. Thinking of this, the assistant wants to persuade Reba something more. However, before she could speak, she was first stopped by Reba and comforted, saying, "Oh, I know what you're thinking, don't worry. Besides being a bit greedy on a regular basis, what else is there that's supposed to collapse? Why don't you just fight with the boss? Anyway, every famous entertainment company needs to hire people. I happen to take this opportunity to go out and relax." The assistant looked helpless, but Reba was curious about other spots. 11 more guests, who would they all be? Just as Reba was speculating, after discussions among various economic companies, the candidates to participate in the program have been determined, and the official program team released a Weibo on the same day. With the announcement of the personnel list, it instantly sparked a frenzy among fans. Chapter 3. List release, encounter hot bar. Seeking. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 3. List release, encounter Reba by chance. When the 12 candidates to participate in the program were determined, the program team officially released a Weibo announcement. Thank you for your attention. The candidates for participating in this program have been confirmed. The director of the production team, Yen Ming, released a picture under the caption. Above are the figures of 12 celebrities, and below are their respective names written. And as soon as this picture was released, netizens immediately exclaimed, "Oh my God! It's Qilin from my family. He's going to participate in the survival on a deserted island. It's my stubborn Bojun Yixiao CP. Xiao Zhan and Wang Yibao. Are they going to reunite again in a variety show? Reba and Mai. They are all actresses I like. Surprisingly, there are also Qilin and Demiao Gu. Now there's something interesting to see." When netizens scanned the stars in the pictures one by one, they saw Wang Hedi, Chen Feiyu, Meng Meiqi, Lu Haozuan, and others. And at the end of this 12-person silhouette collection is Su Qi. The production team also doesn't know where the photos were extracted from. In the picture, Su Qi is facing the camera with his back to his side, revealing only his back and half of his profile. The cold, handsome and unsmiling face instantly caught the attention of netizens. Hey! Who is the handsome guy at the back? Is his name Su Qi? Is he also a celebrity? A group of netizens seem to feel a bit familiar, even the names seem familiar. However, Su Qi's works will gradually be taken down after a few days of broadcasting, and few people know him. It sounds a bit familiar, but I can't remember who it is. Is there such a person in the entertainment industry? It seems that they don't quite match the coffee shops in front of them. After reminiscing for a while, the other fans were still immersed in their brother's appearance on screen. Don't worry about him. Maybe it's just that others don't want to come, take him up and make up for it. Counting the days, they will be landing on the island in a few more days. No, I need to prepare my pigeon's equipment in advance. I can't miss anything. I don't know which fan said it first and immediately gave a reminder. Numerous fans of fresh meat are beginning to cater, just like the usual crazy brushing and voting. Showcased all their enthusiasm. Starting to place orders for various wilderness survival equipment online and send them to various entertainment companies. Even worse, they set off directly for the nearest wilderness survival supplies market in the local area. Originally a niche interest market for camping enthusiasts to purchase equipment, it's as lively as a tourist attraction. Hiss. Brother Qi, what's the situation? There are not as many people as usual. Located 2 streets away from the wilderness survival supplies market. Su Qi sat in the black nanny car, listening to the little assistant in the driver's seat asking questions. The personnel list of the program team has been confirmed, and we are about to land on the island. In order to improve your acting skills, you also need to make some preparations. Just arrived at the market preparing to purchase equipment, only to find that there were crowds of people and a lot of excitement ahead. And most of the people who come and go are young girls. Brother Qi, do you need me to drive the car in? The assistant acting as the driver asked again. After all, I finally got a job, and I definitely need to put in my heart to do it. Speaking of which, being Su Qi's assistant is really easy. It's completely different from serving celebrities who have almost no ability to take care of themselves in life. When Su Qiping was there, he didn't need his assistant to help anything. At most, I have to go out and act as a driver when the company forces me to use the car. Let's just park here, this car is too flashy, Su Qi said calmly. After all, the model of the nanny car is unique, and fans of celebrities can tell it at a glance. If I drive this in, I'm afraid I'll be surrounded by fans. Even if they don't know who the person sitting in the car is. Ah, good. The assistant agreed, but still asked with some confusion. By the way, Brother Qi, the equipment company on the island should be prepared in advance. You don't need to come and buy it yourself, do you? Upon hearing this, Su Qi only said that the other party did not understand his intentions. What I want to buy now is not ordinary wilderness survival equipment. But I plan to change into a new outfit. Next sentence. Don't wait for me anymore. Without waiting for the assistant to make a sound, he got out of the nanny car. Su Qi lowered his duckbill cap and stepped into the wilderness survival equipment market, welcoming the flow of people. Soon, the chattering voices of the young girls around him reached Su Qi's ears. Hey! What did you all buy today? I bought a camping tent and an oven for my pigeon at home. Let him still barbecue on the island. Oh, that's okay. This way, we won't be afraid of pigeons starving on the island. Upon hearing these, Su Qi almost burst into laughter. Are these fans going to mail ovens to the island? I estimate it will be strictly confiscated directly. Furthermore, the filming contract is clearly stated. The production team will not provide any food or living conditions. What's the use of holding an oven empty if you can't catch fish and hunt? Su Qi couldn't help but shake his head, feeling that these fans were still thinking too simply. Survival on this deserted island is far from as simple as they imagine. Just as I was about to take a step and continue walking inside, suddenly there was a noise coming from behind. The fans ahead also looked sideways, their expressions all stunned. A female fan pointed behind Su Qi and said, "Look! Isn't that a nanny car? Oh my God, whose nanny car is this? It must be a celebrity sitting inside. Can it be that one of the contestants who is preparing to participate in the program has also come here to buy equipment?" As soon as these words were spoken, the crowd suddenly gathered in excitement. Su Qi followed the gap in the crowd and stood aside, frowning uncontrollably. Didn't you ask him to go back first? Why did he still drive over? Turning around, a black nanny car caught the eye. However, when Su Qi saw the license plate, he was taken aback for a moment. This is actually not my own car. Is there really someone like me who comes over to buy equipment in person? Su Qi was stunned for a moment, and couldn't help but glance at the nanny car again. The glass is covered with anti-peeping film, making it impossible to see who is inside the car. And the nanny car promotion that I just mentioned has indeed come true now. These fans have no idea, and they don't care who is sitting in the car. They all surrounded like a tide. The car was quickly surrounded and blocked. Surprisingly, driving the car here, it's really. This situation was also expected by Su Qi, as he shook his head and prepared to continue his business. However, just as I was about to go against the crowd and enter the market, the sound of a car door opening from behind followed by a crowd of exclamations. As if seeing something surprising, the fans lost their voice and said, "Oh my goodness! It's actually the goddess Reba. New book seeking data. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. It's really lively here. Reba looked at the fans outside the car window in surprise. She originally secured a spot to participate in the variety show from the company. With anticipation in mind, I want to come to the wilderness survival equipment market to take a look, which can be considered as doing some homework in advance. Unexpectedly, as soon as the car arrived at the door, it was blocked by fans. Reba, what should we do? We're stuck here, the little assistant beside us said anxiously. But Reba smiled lightly and comforted, saying, "What are you panicking about? I happened to ask them what to bring when going to the island." After speaking, I only heard the sound of opening the car door. Without waiting for the assistant to stop her, Reba walked lightly and without any celebrity airs out of the car. The fans around only then saw the real person. Looking at that delicate facial features and agile eyes, they were even more beautiful than on TV. I have already recognized it, but to my surprise, the one in the car is the goddess Reba. The crowd instantly exploded. Female fans flock up one after another. Oh my God! It's the goddess Reba. Sister Reba, I've liked you for a long time. Can you take a photo with me? I want a signature. Is that okay? With the excited cries of fans, Reba smiled in front of everyone. Thanks to everyone's kindness, I playfully said. A group photo is still possible, but you need to answer my question first. Do you have any wild survival tips? I would like to ask for advice. This group of fans has just emerged from the market stores, and they really listen to the boss's recommendations. Everyone eagerly raised their hands for a moment, and the scene was extremely lively. But beneath this lively scene, there are people who are different from the fanatical fans. Suchi only glanced at it. Seeing the crowd gathering in the direction of Reba, I took advantage of the small crowd. Turn around and walk towards the store. Suchi walked into a shop, and the boss, dressed in casual camouflage, happened to be looking out. Coming, he symbolically greeted, but his attention was mostly focused on the outside. Who have these girls seen? Why are they so excited? Seeing the boss's gourd-eating expression, I almost wanted to go out and explore. Suchi silently scanned the equipment in the store with his gaze. I saw that the walls around me were covered with assault suits and camouflage suits, but I didn't see what I wanted at a glance. Just as I turned around and was about to leave, I caught a glimpse of navy blue in the corner of my eye. That is a hoodie, hanging deep in the store. Suchi stopped in his tracks and continued walking towards the store. The boss seemed to have just regained his senses and followed in Suchi's footsteps, apologizing and greeting. I'm sorry, what do you want to buy? Suchi walked all the way to the hooded shirt, examining its appearance. It happens to be the same as what Qilin wears in my impression. The boss also keenly noticed and began to spare no effort in praising. Yo, your vision is really amazing. Looking at the whole street, this piece of clothing is also the only one. Don't look like a regular hoodie on the outside, the materials used are not ordinary. Specially coated, not only resistant to dirt but also fire-resistant. Listening to the boss's praise, Suchi waved his hand. He lifted it down directly and said calmly, "Can you try it?" The boss was delighted to have such a customer who didn't have to waste his breath upon hearing this. "Of course, please do as you please," he said, pointing to the fitting room. Suchi stepped in and put a hoodie over his body. With a navy blue hat covering his head, he looked at himself in the fitting mirror. Sure enough, the effect is almost as expected. And the next second, the sound of the system came from the ear. Congratulations on the increase in host play, the current progress is 50%, strength synchronized by 50%. Reward. Black Gold Ancient Blade. Perhaps their personalities are already similar, and template playing improves quickly. However, the reward of this black and golden ancient sword is an unexpected joy. I originally wanted to find some handy weapons, but this time it's easier. When he came out of the store again, Su Qi was already wearing a navy blue hoodie. The hood covered the head, hiding the cold and handsome face in the shadow. A black and gold ancient knife wrapped in black cloth was slanted on his back. There are also many people who come to buy shovel fishing gear in this wilderness survival market. It's not very eye-catching, but passers-by will unconsciously look at him. This dark blue figure, with cold eyes, and a black cloth on its back. It's hard not to attract the attention of customers coming and going. Su Qi ignored it and walked towards the outside of the market. However, at the passage of the market ahead, there is a group of people surrounded. Two graceful figures, facing numerous mobile phone cameras, seem to be walking on the red carpet. "Hurry up, help me talk to hot Barbie Zhongying." One of them spoke up, and Su Qi also realized at this moment. Originally, I had already finished purchasing, but Reba hadn't left yet. She hasn't even entered the market yet and is still taking photos with her fans. Watching the onlookers queuing up with their phones to shoot. When will this be filmed? Su Qi was stunned for a moment, but there was only one channel to go out. Despite being congested by Reba and fans ahead, Su Qi also had to lower his hood and walk towards the crowd. "Ah, the goddess Reba is really beautiful." Fans holding up their phones to shoot around all exclaimed. I am also envious of the lucky fans who can take photos with Reba in front of me. And just as another fan approached to take a photo with Reba, a dark blue figure appeared from behind Reba, carrying an object wrapped in black cloth. Like a hero who accidentally breaks into the camera, that handsome figure exudes an extraordinary temperament that is free from dust. Faced with numerous mobile phone lenses, only half of the face hidden in the shadow was revealed. Even a sidekick is enough to overwhelm many male stars in the entertainment industry. Even more so, it made the fans who were watching tremble in their hearts, as the figure suddenly broke into the phone lens for a few seconds. Surprisingly, it also attracted many young fans around, feeling like there was a little deer bumping around in my heart. In the captured images, he covered the brim of the blue hooded shirt, concealing Ling Jun's face a bit. Turning sideways without any hesitation, she brushed her shoulders away from Reba. Upon seeing this scene, fans froze in place. It was unclear for a moment whether the protagonist in the previous shot was Reba or not. Or this mysterious man who suddenly broke into the camera but flashed by again. Wow! Have you seen it? Who is the little brother who walked over just now? He looks so handsome. A burst of discussion erupted in the crowd. The female fans even looked at Su Qi's departing figure, revealing their flirtatious expressions. That's it. I just saw the profile. It's really a fairy-like appearance. And his figure is also really handsome. Strange, even though he's just wearing a hoodie, how do I feel like he's a hero? But he doesn't know if it's Reba ahead. How could you walk past Reba without hesitation? Upon hearing the puzzled voices of the crowd, Reba was also taken aback for a moment. She just felt a light figure walking past her. Following the infatuated gaze of the fans, I finally saw the dark blue silhouette clearly. It looks like a sword, but there is an indescribable loneliness. Unconsciously, Reba also stared for a while. And soon, the fans present also posted the scene they had just captured online. It is this short video of a few seconds that has sparked a heated discussion. Chapter 4. Hood covering the face, breaking into the camera of passersby. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. It's really lively here. Reba looked at the fans outside the car window in surprise. She originally secured a spot to participate in the variety show from the company. With anticipation in mind, I want to come to the wilderness survival equipment market to take a look, which can be considered as doing some homework in advance. Unexpectedly, as soon as the car arrived at the door, it was blocked by fans. Reba, what should we do? We're stuck here, the little assistant beside us said anxiously. But Reba smiled lightly and comforted, saying, What are you panicking about? I happened to ask them what to bring when going to the island. After speaking, I only heard the sound of opening the car door. Without waiting for the assistant to stop her, Reba walked lightly and without any celebrity airs out of the car. The fans around only then saw the real person. Looking at that delicate facial features and agile eyes, they were even more beautiful than on TV. I have already recognized it, but to my surprise, the one in the car is the goddess Reba. The crowd instantly exploded. Female fans flock up one after another. Oh my God! It's the goddess Reba. Sister Reba, I've liked you for a long time. Can you take a photo with me? I want a signature. Is that okay? With the excited cries of fans, Reba smiled in front of everyone. Thanks to everyone's kindness, I playfully said. A group photo is still possible, but you need to answer my question first. Do you have any wild survival tips? I would like to ask for advice. This group of fans has just emerged from the market stores, and they really listen to the boss's recommendations. Everyone eagerly raised their hands for a moment, and the scene was extremely lively. But beneath this lively scene, there are people who are different from the fanatical fans. Suchi only glanced at it. Seeing the crowd gathering in the direction of Reba, I took advantage of the small crowd. Turn around and walk towards the store. Suchi walked into a shop, and the boss, dressed in casual camouflage, happened to be looking out. Coming, he symbolically greeted, but his attention was mostly focused on the outside. Who have these girls seen? Why are they so excited? Seeing the boss's gourd-eating expression, I almost wanted to go out and explore. Suchi silently scanned the equipment in the store with his gaze. I saw that the walls around me were covered with assault suits and camouflage suits, but I didn't see what I wanted at a glance. Just as I turned around and was about to leave, I caught a glimpse of navy blue in the corner of my eye. That is a hoodie, hanging deep in the store. Suchi stopped in his tracks and continued walking towards the store. The boss seemed to have just regained his senses and followed in Suchi's footsteps, apologizing and greeting. I'm sorry, what do you want to buy? Suchi walked all the way to the hooded shirt, examining its appearance. It happens to be the same as what Qilin wears in my impression. The boss also keenly noticed and began to spare no effort in praising. Yo, your vision is really amazing. Looking at the whole street, this piece of clothing is also the only one. Don't look like a regular hoodie on the outside, the materials used are not ordinary. Specially coated, not only resistant to dirt but also fire-resistant. Listening to the boss's praise, Suchi waved his hand. He lifted it down directly and said calmly, "Can you try it?" The boss was delighted to have such a customer who didn't have to waste his breath upon hearing this. Of course, please do as you please, he said, pointing to the fitting room. Suchi stepped in and put a hoodie over his body. With a navy blue hat covering his head, he looked at himself in the fitting mirror. Sure enough, the effect is almost as expected. And the next second, the sound of the system came from the ear. Congratulations on the increase in host play, the current progress is 50%, strength synchronized by 50%. Reward. Black Gold Ancient Blade. Perhaps their personalities are already similar, and template playing improves quickly. However, the reward of this black and golden ancient sword is an unexpected joy. I originally wanted to find some handy weapons, but this time it's easier. When he came out of the store again, Suchi was already wearing a navy blue hoodie. The hood covered the head, hiding the cold and handsome face in the shadow. A black and gold ancient knife wrapped in black cloth was slanted on his back. There are also many people who come to buy shovel fishing gear in this wilderness survival market. It's not very eye-catching, but passersby will unconsciously look at him. This dark blue figure, with cold eyes, and a black cloth on its back. It's hard not to attract the attention of customers coming and going. Suchi ignored it and walked towards the outside of the market. However, at the passage of the market ahead, there is a group of people surrounded. Two graceful figures, facing numerous mobile phone cameras, seem to be walking on the red carpet. "Hurry up, help me talk to hot Barbie Zhang." One of them spoke up, and Su Qi also realized at this moment. Originally, I had already finished purchasing, but Reba hadn't left yet. She hasn't even entered the market yet and is still taking photos with her fans. Watching the onlookers queuing up with their phones to shoot. When will this be filmed? Su Qi was stunned for a moment, but there was only one channel to go out. Despite being congested by Reba and fans ahead, Su Qi also had to lower his hood and walk towards the crowd. "Ah, the goddess Reba is really beautiful." Fans holding up their phones to shoot around all exclaimed. I am also envious of the lucky fans who can take photos with Reba in front of me. And just as another fan approached to take a photo with Reba, a dark blue figure appeared from behind Reba, carrying an object wrapped in black cloth. Like a hero who accidentally breaks into the camera, that handsome figure exudes an extraordinary temperament that is free from dust. Faced with numerous mobile phone lenses, only half of the face hidden in the shadow was revealed. Even a sidekick is enough to overwhelm many male stars in the entertainment industry. Even more so, it made the fans who were watching tremble in their hearts, as the figure suddenly broke into the phone lens for a few seconds. Surprisingly, it also attracted many young fans around, feeling like there was a little deer bumping around in my heart. In the captured images, he covered the brim of the blue hooded shirt, concealing Ling Jun's face a bit. Turning sideways without any hesitation, she brushed her shoulders away from Reba. Upon seeing this scene, fans froze in place. It was unclear for a moment whether the protagonist in the previous shot was Reba or not. Or this mysterious man who suddenly broke into the camera but flashed by again. Wow! Have you seen it? Who is the little brother who walked over just now? He looks so handsome. A burst of discussion erupted in the crowd. The female fans even looked at Su Qi's departing figure, revealing their flirtatious expressions. That's it. I just saw the profile. It's really a fairy-like appearance. And his figure is also really handsome. Strange, even though he's just wearing a hoodie, how do I feel like he's a hero? But he doesn't know if it's Reba ahead. How could you walk past Reba without hesitation? Upon hearing the puzzled voices of the crowd, Reba was also taken aback for a moment. She just felt a light figure walking past her. Following the infatuated gaze of the fans, I finally saw the dark blue silhouette clearly. It looks like a sword, but there is an indescribable loneliness. Unconsciously, Reba also stared for a while. And soon, the fans present also posted the scene they had just captured online. It is this short video of a few seconds that has sparked a heated discussion. Chapter 5. The Ignored Reba. You are listening at novelfull.audio. With the video of Su Qi passing by, it was posted online by the fans present. And also hung several hot topics. Rushing to break into the camera. Surprisingly, the guy in the same frame as the hot guy. He's so handsome that he explodes. This is already an attractive topic, coupled with the top traffic of Reba. In just a few hours, this video was pushed onto the hot search, with over 10 million views. It has also attracted countless discussions from netizens. Many fans of Reba simply clicked on these few seconds of video out of curiosity. However, when they saw the navy blue figures walking out from behind Reba, who had a gentle smile on her face. As I walked, I inadvertently revealed my perfect profile hidden in the shadow of my hood. Walking to the passage, facing numerous phone shots, I saw him extend a fair and slender hand, gently tugging at the hat of his hooded shirt with his fingertips. Passing by Reba's side, there was no hesitation in her footsteps. In the end, the slightly lonely figure disappeared from the street corner, following the crowd of people. Like an exiled immortal passing through the world without any trace of mortal dust. In addition, the object on Su Qi's back, wrapped in black cloth and resembling a sword, appeared even more mysterious and profound. Such a unique immortal temperament has immediately attracted the attention of countless people. No, where did this young man come from? He must have been too cool. It's like a character coming out of a manga. Oh my goodness, how could there be such a person with such a detached and worldly temperament? Just looking at the few seconds he appeared on the screen, I feel like I can come up with a sadistic novel with my brain. It's really a mistake for life at a glance. Looking at the small half of his face shown in the video, his looks are truly amazing. But did he just walk past the goddess Reba like this? Why didn't he change his face? Doesn't he know that the person in front of him taking a photo is Reba? Amidst the widespread popularity among netizens, there are also some conspiracy theories that raise doubts. After all, from the perspective of any normal person, how could someone pass by a top-tier actress like Reba without looking back? Moreover, this outfit is too elegant, which can't help but arouse the hostage's suspicion. By the way, may the timing of this guy's appearance be too coincidental? Shouldn't it be? Intentionally posing for the shoot, right? As soon as this statement was made, some netizens who didn't mind the big picture after watching the excitement also agreed. Yeah. And just looking at his temperament, he can basically crush most of the fresh meat nowadays. Isn't there a talent scout to dig up this kind of seedling? I don't even believe in killing it. I'm afraid he didn't collude with Reba in advance, it's the new artist their company wants to promote. Wait a minute, maybe Reba company will be promoting new employees soon. With a wave of heated discussions online, Reba has also returned to the company with her assistant. As soon as I opened my phone, even Reba was startled by the sudden surge in hot searches. Who is that person? Watching the video, I couldn't help but recall the situation in my mind. For some reason, that lonely figure seemed to be imprinted in her mind, lingering for a long time. And we haven't waited for Reba herself to react, the little assistant beside him was already pacing angrily, muttering. Oh my, I'm so angry. How could Miss Reba, such a big beauty, be ignored like this? And look at what these netizens are saying. What does it mean to ignore female celebrities and still be carefree? Make it seem like Rebecca is a tool person. Upon hearing the reason why the assistant was angry, Reba unconsciously smiled. He turned his head and comforted, all right, who said outsiders would stop and take a look when they see me? What have I become, the orangutan peacock in the zoo? Speaking of which, I felt like someone suddenly walked past me and almost startled. As Reba spoke, she honestly played the video again. To be honest, she didn't even react much at the time. When he regained his senses, this young man had already brushed past him. Now by watching the videos taken by fans, we can see more details. However, the netizens who made these comments have a bit of a big imagination. Surprisingly, they said we colluded and even said he was the new artist our company was going to sign. Upon seeing the comments below, Reba pondered for a moment and said, "No, I still need to explain to them." Upon hearing this, the assistant suddenly became calm. Immediately say. Ah. Sister Reba, did I hear you right? He completely ignored your beauty. Not only are you not angry, but you also need to help him clarify now. Reba naturally has her own careful thinking. However, looking at the surprised assistant, he patted his chest and pretended to be righteous, saying, "Cough cough, I'm not just doing this for him, am I?" If netizens are allowed to speculate, who knows what outrageous story will come up in the end. Isn't this also for the sake of the company's reputation? It's called a big picture view. After saying these words, Reba herself was almost convinced. Next, under the hot review of the video, I personally replied to the comments saying, to clarify, he was really just passing by at the time, and I made a last-minute decision to take a photo with my fans. I don't know that little brother, and even when he passed by me, I hadn't fully realized it yet. But I have to say, it looks really handsome from the video. If there's a chance to meet him again in the future, maybe I'll have to ask for his signature." And with Reba's personal explanation, this topic has reached a climax. Chapter 6. Do you call fitness rest? Seeking fresh flowers. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Songs Media, A Certain Artist's Lounge. Li Bing looked excitedly at the hot topic, so happy that she couldn't even close her mouth. She had already recognized the person in the video. Who else can have that unique temperament besides Su Qi? At this moment, the popularity of watching videos is only increasing and not decreasing. As if the treasure he had discovered had finally been revealed to the sky, he couldn't help but rejoice and say, "Look, what did I say? My vision is right, isn't it?" With Su Qi's temperament, looking at the entire entertainment industry, it is also an extremely explosive existence. Has it really come true now? If it weren't for all the works being completely banned, Su Qi would have become famous long ago. The assistant on the side hasn't figured out what happened yet, but they are also responding in unison. After Su Qi got off the car earlier, he obediently drove back to the company by himself. Now listen to what Li Bing said about hot searches and videos. The assistant was also puzzled and said, "It's strange. Isn't Chiga just going to buy equipment? Why didn't you see it in the blink of an eye and then it went viral?" At this moment, the door to the lounge opened. A figure wearing a navy hoodie appeared outside the door, clearly indicating that the main owner had returned. "Sister Bing." Su Qi looked at Li Bing waiting in his lounge for a moment. "Coincidentally, what is Chi doing here? Is there any change in the contract?" And the next second, I only heard my assistant exclaim in shock. Staring at the screen of his phone and comparing it to his own outfit, he exclaimed in surprise. "I'll go. Brother Qi. The person on this hot search video is really you. You look exactly the same." Upon hearing this, Su Qi murmured in confusion, "What video?" At this moment, Li Bing handed over his phone with a smile on his face and stepped forward to take a look. Su Qi only then understood the ins and outs of the matter. However, there was no surprise on his face. On the contrary, looking at the comments and conspiracy theories online, I felt speechless. No wonder I am often described as having been in the industry for 10 years and returning as an ordinary person. Previously, the program team of the 100 Days on the Deserted Island sent out the official photos of the 12 people. Now the videos of Passersby have also been filmed. Even though my attire was very secretive at the time, I only showed a slight profile. Isn't there so many netizens who can't even match their own identity? It's simply outrageous, Su Qi thought to himself, but he also saw a few people in the comments section who were familiar with each other. There is really some potential for future iron powder. And as Su Qi's gaze withdrew from his phone, Li Bing also suggested excitedly, "Su Qi, now is a great opportunity. I think you might as well use this title to make a video and admit that the person being photographed is you. Judging from the current popularity, your career can definitely take a few more steps forward. Now." Upon hearing Li Bing's proposal, Su Qi said calmly, "Is it necessary to go to the island soon?" With his words, Li Bing seemed to have also thought of something. The originally excited expression gradually calmed down and murmured, "That's right, when we arrive on the island, under the mirror that illuminates the demon. What's the use of packaging personas now? Unfortunately, if this video had been released earlier, perhaps there wouldn't have been a need to sign this contract." Upon hearing this, Su Qi noticed that Li Bing was clearly overthinking. "I just feel that admitting now is unnecessary. After all, this outfit was a preparation I made for going to the island. As long as netizens are not blind, they will naturally recognize it at a glance. Now that we have the time to voluntarily admit it, it's better to make more preparations. For example, going to the company's gym to become proficient in one's current physical fitness. Let's see what an incredible level it has reached." Thinking of this, Su Qi said to Li Bing, "Sister, if there's nothing else, I want to rest first. Ah. Oh, it's good to keep your spirits up. Li Bing nodded and walked out with some regret. Seeing her leave, there were only myself and my assistant left in the room. Immediately, I took a step towards the wardrobe in the lounge, ready to find fitness clothes to change into. This action stunned the assistant and made him wonder. Chiga, what are you doing? Didn't you say you wanted to rest? I'll take you home, okay? Upon hearing this, Su Qi found 2 clean vests from the wardrobe. Toss a piece to the assistant without looking back. It's a break. First, accompany me to the company's gym. The assistant was stunned as he hugged the vest in his arms, suddenly becoming even more confused. Qian. A gym. Qi Gu, did I hear you right? You call this rest? From recent reactions, the assistant couldn't help but feel that Su Qi seemed to be putting a lot of effort into that program. Even the equipment has to be purchased in person, but Qi Gu is planning to go to the gym now. It's only a few days away from the island to prepare, can we still make it in time? Quickly, Su Qi had put on his fitness vest and walked towards the gym with his assistant. It has to be said that I have already maintained a good figure. Now with the blessing of strength, my muscles are even stronger. The arms exposed at the vest appear quite explosive. You can still vaguely see the sturdy abdominal muscles underneath the vest. It's completely out of class with those other fresh meats in the company. On the way to the gym, I inevitably encountered some female staff members. Surprisingly, it attracted them to unconsciously glance at each other, with a high rate of turning heads. Seeing this scene, the assistant beside couldn't help but wonder. Qi Gu, I haven't seen you in the past few days. I feel like you've become much stronger again. To be honest, did you secretly go to the gym again? Su Qi didn't explain much and said calmly. You'll know later. And the former convenience was the gym of Songha Media, and now the lights are still on. There was also a sound of talking and chatting coming from inside. Upon hearing the commotion, Su Qi was taken aback. The speakers are naturally the few fresh meat artists in the company. Why are they still staying in the gym so late? Has the difficulty also enlightened me? However, before he could think much about it, the assistant beside him gave the answer and muttered. These flower racks are still working out here for a long time. Upon hearing this, it turns out that the company has regulations. All artists are required to exercise for a certain amount of time every week. As for what to do in the gym, there is no dedicated person watching. Now just listening to them chatting passionately inside, Su Qi can also guess the situation inside. Immediately arrived at the gym door, pushed the door open and entered. Accompanied by the sound of opening the door, everyone inside was suddenly startled. I thought it was their chatting voice that attracted a certain agent to come for inspection. Until they saw the person coming clearly, they all breathed a sigh of relief and mocked, saying. Who should I be? Isn't this Senior Su Qi? Chapter 7. Kirin Tattoo. Stupid little fresh meat. You are listening at novelfull.audio. As soon as Su Qi and his assistant walked into the gym, a strange sound came from inside. Looking up, I saw a few greasy little fresh meats sitting on the fitness equipment in the company, gloating at themselves. His words were full of mockery. Hey, Senior Su, what brought you here? Do you want to seize the time to practice your muscles before going to the island? Xiao Wu, sitting on the equipment seat, is clearly the largest coffee shop here. For a moment, the few people standing around him also smiled and agreed. Oh yeah, it seems like we're going to record a variety show now. It's time to exercise in advance. Otherwise, when we arrive on the island, if there is any more embarrassing behavior, it will be broadcast live. Upon hearing all this, Su Qi remained expressionless. I didn't even glance at them, I just ignored them. On the contrary, the assistant on the side couldn't help but feel aggrieved by Su Qiming upon hearing this. This time, Su Qi was pushed out by the company's senior management to become a substitute for the dead. The whole company is well aware of this matter. And these little fresh meats who managed to escape the disaster not only lacked any gratitude. Are you still mocking and mocking here instead? The assistant was immediately furious, but he didn't dare to speak back directly. He could only clench his fist and approach Su Qi, muttering. These guys, I don't know why Chiga, you're pushing yourself up. Now you're starting to chew your tongue again. Don't think I don't know what they did behind the scenes to avoid the quota. Speaking of which, the assistant seems to have opened up a conversation box. Just shake the gossip news you hear all over Su Qi's head and say in a low voice. Brother Qi, don't believe it. I've been asking a lot lately. That little white-faced surnamed Wu hasn't been accompanying an old man from the top management for dinner lately. It seems like he'll still. Qi Gu. However, the assistant hadn't finished speaking yet, and Su Qi didn't have much interest in listening to those strange rumors. Glancing at the gym, I saw several sets of barbells lying in the corner, and my eyes suddenly lit up. There is a clear weight on this thing, which is perfect for testing its strength. With this idea in mind, Su Qi whispered to himself. Without saying a word, he followed the barbell in the gym that nobody was interested in and walked over. And the assistant beside him saw that he didn't care at all about those gossip. I could only reluctantly swallow my words and quickly follow up. Sai, look at him like this. Are you really planning to practice? The little fresh meat on the side are also paying attention to Su Qi's movements. Seeing him walking straight towards the barbells, they all gathered around Xiao Wu. I couldn't avoid mentioning that variety show and speculated. Encore, I saw that deserted island variety show. Is there a high level of public attention now? Isn't this Su Qi really able to point to the program becoming popular? Is it just him? Xiao Wu was almost amused by these words and spoke in denial. He's just like an oil bottle, not saying a word for a long time. Who would give him a shot? For him, the best outcome would be to be a little transparent and not collapse the house. Upon hearing Xiao Wu's words, the little fresh meat around him also burst into laughter, even calling him. However, the cheerful atmosphere did not last for a while, and the expression of one of the artists suddenly froze. I saw him looking in the direction of Su Qi, with a surprised expression on his face and saying. Am I going? One-handed. Lifting a barbell with one hand. What, where? Following his voice, everyone's gaze instantly turned towards Su Qi. As he mentioned earlier, Su Qi had already picked up a barbell with one hand. From the barbell pieces at both ends, it appears that this barbell weighs 20 kilograms. However, Su Qi picked it up with only one hand. Even with a flick of his wrist, the shiny barbell piece was full of vitality. There was no change in Su Qi's face, as if it was effortless at all. Seeing this, the small fresh meats gathered together were stunned. Hiss, how strong is he? Surprisingly, lifting a barbell with one hand can still turn a flower out. With the voices of discussion around him, Xiao Wu's face darkened. It seems that the light of the moon and stars has been snatched away, and everyone's attention is now on Su Qi. He frowned and sneered, what is this? It's only 20 kilograms, I can lift it too. However, before Xiao Wu could finish speaking, the surroundings were completely silent. At this moment, the artist just now exclaimed in shock. Encore, then. 40 kilograms, are you okay too? As his words fell, Xiao Wu clearly froze for a moment. Realizing something, he quickly looked at Su Qi with a shocked expression. I saw that Su Qi indeed had a replacement action. Seemingly unsatisfied with the weight just now, I turned my head and picked up a 40-kilogram barbell. This time, it's still one-handed. And from his calm and composed expression, it seems as if he is far from reaching the limit of his strength. Seeing this scene, even Xiao Wu was full of surprise. Not only him, but also his assistant looked at Su Qi in front of him in shock. Seeing him effortlessly lifting a 40-kilogram barbell with one hand, he stuttered. "I'll go, Brother Qi. You can practice well here. How could you lift such a heavy barbell with just one hand?" "Heavy." Su Qi heard this, as if he had just come to his senses. "Just now, I was only focused on finding the strength and feel, and didn't pay attention to the weight marked on it. I casually picked it up a few times, but now when I looked down, I realized that I had lifted 40 kilograms with one hand. But I clearly haven't felt any difficulty yet. It seems that this strength has really increased a lot," Su Qi thought to himself. "I just don't know where the limit is." As he was about to drop the barbell, he found that the heaviest one nearby was 40 kilograms. After thinking for a moment, he bent down and began dismantling the other barbell pieces, intending to press them all onto the same one. However, this scene stunned the others in the gym. The group of fresh meat even showed a surprised expression and exclaimed, "Oh my goodness, isn't he still feeling too heavy enough? Is it like adding all these pounds together?" As he spoke, his eyes were also wide-eyed. With the assistance of an assistant, Su Qi installed the barbell pieces together. Although all of them are gathered together, the weight is only 80 kilograms. Looking at the stacked barbell pieces that were the size of car tires, it was still shocking. Not to mention being an artist, even if you want to work out year-round, it's hard to lift it up. However, the next second, Su Qi let out a deep breath under the gaze of everyone. Reaching forward, without any accidents, he lifted the barbell again. But this time, I finally felt some strength. Su Qi did not put it down and began to push up and down. And this time, Su Qi's blood accelerated its flow. The shoulders exposed by the fitness vest gradually began to show a few black lines. Spread like clarity, gradually outlining the pattern of the Qilin. Chapter 8. Explosion. This director really dares to play. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Su Qi held the barbell in his hand, which was the size of a tire, and moved it in a regular manner. Although I have not yet reached the limit of my own strength, I can still feel the strength within it. It can barely be used for exercise. However, this scene in the eyes of others caused a sense of shock. Especially those little fresh meats who were just mocking and mocking. At this moment, watching the tire-like weight move up and down in Su Qi's hand. They all had a stunned expression, their chins were about to be startled to the ground. I'll go. Su Qi's strength is so great. I thought he was pretending to stack the dumbbell pieces together and just lift them. Unexpectedly, he even practiced with this. These oily and powdery artists have incredible expressions on their faces. They have also tried the barbells in this gym on weekdays. Lifting the smallest specification alone can be quite strenuous with just a few moves. So just now, watching Su Qi take off the dumbbell piece, I was still waiting for him to embarrass me. But they never expected that Su Qi would actually stack the dumbbell pieces together. And it seemed effortless to lift it up. With just this strength, I could lift a sturdy man up and throw him out. Damn it. When did he train his strength like this? So many barbell pieces combined, at least they have to weigh 80 kilograms. In a moment of shock, these little fresh meats recalled the sarcastic remarks they had made towards him earlier. At this moment, they couldn't help but feel lingering palpitations. Fortunately they didn't pay attention to us just now. If I start making a move, I'm afraid my body won't be able to withstand his punch. And watching Su Qi remain expressionless, his hands moving in a regular manner. One of the artists, in shock, didn't forget to take out his phone and shoot a video. And sent this video to a celebrity who also wants to participate in the program. Hetty, hurry up and watch this video. This strength is simply incredible. Didn't you also be selected to participate in the variety show on the deserted island? Let me show you who you're going to meet. On the other end of the phone, Wang Hetty was also worried about his upcoming trip to the island. After all, it's a survival on a deserted island, and I've never tried this before, so it's inevitable to feel anxious. The agent also repeatedly discussed with the company, all of which were unsuccessful. At this moment, seeing the video sent by the other party, it was the following sentence that caught his attention. "Ha! Is this also the celebrity who wants to go to the island to participate in the program? You can just take a look at what other celebrities who are about to go to the island are doing now." With such thoughts in mind, Wang Hedi curiously clicked on the video. As the video played, the two bright barbell pieces were constantly undulating up and down with Su Qi's movements. Although the shooting distance was not close. Just from the video, the visual effect is also quite explosive. And how could that handsome-looking man easily lift such a heavy barbell? Hiss, this is too amazing. Wang Hedi couldn't help but exclaim in admiration. In a daze, there seemed to be only 2 words left on the screen. Thighs. No, we'll have to establish a good relationship with him then. At this moment, Su Qi is still exercising in the gym. I don't know how long it took, but my arm finally felt a little sore. And under continuous aerobic exercise, the body begins to heat slightly. At this moment, the assistant beside suddenly raised his hand and pointed at Su Qi's shoulder. As if discovering something, with a somewhat surprised expression, he said. "Hey! Chiga, on your body." Upon hearing this, Su Qi had already realized something. So I lowered my head and caught a glimpse, only to find that a few blue and black lines gradually appeared on my shoulders. That is the Qilin tattoo, gradually revealing its clues under its own blood circulation. Ha! Su Qi saw this and slowly put down the barbell in his hand. The heavy barbell fell to the ground, making a muffled sound. "Forget it, let's just practice here." Su Qi took a breath and said lightly. At present, there are not only the 2 of them in the gym. For those little fresh meat lovers who love to chew their tongues and roots, it's better not to reveal their Kirin tattoos for now. So as my body's breath adjusted, those few blue and black lines gradually faded away. The Kirin tattoo, which briefly revealed the tip of the iceberg, quickly disappeared into hiding. The assistant instinctively responded to Su Qi's words a few times. But his gaze still fell on Su Qi's shoulder, wanting to see clearly what was on him. In the blink of an eye, those few blue and black lines just now mysteriously disappeared. Seeing this scene, the assistant's expression immediately froze. Raising his hand and rubbing his eyes vigorously, he muttered in confusion. "Ha! It's strange. Did Chiga have something on his shoulder just now? Can it be that I was dizzy just now?" Su Qi glanced at the assistant without giving any explanation. Waved and walked towards the outside of the gym. And this time when passing by those little fresh meats again, they were surprisingly quiet. A pair of eyes watched as Su Qi left. After all, no one dares to speak up and provoke Su Qigong's newly revealed strength in person. Of course, no one dares to say a few more words. The assistant now feels very proud. Unexpectedly, Qi Gu just came over to lift a barbell and made these noisy guys in the company shut up. Strolling out of the door with Su Qi, he then approached with a smile and said. "Hey, brother Qi, I didn't expect you to train so hard. If it's on a variety show, how big a gap does it have to be compared to those little fresh meats? There are rumors online now, and I don't know exactly how Yan Ming will play. Just waiting to see the artist's fancy collapsed houses on the island." Yan Ming. Su Qi whispered to himself as his assistant mentioned the name again. In my memory, the variety show he recorded was famous for daring to play. Even scenes of explosions are not uncommon. Since the recording location of this program is arranged on a deserted island, what kind of fun will he come up with? Chapter 9. Departure. Go to the recording location. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 9. Departure. Go to the recording location. At this moment, on the shore closest to the designated deserted island by the program team, dozens of staff wearing uniform are anxiously busy. The production team of 100 Days of Survival on a Desolate Island is stationed here. Although it is the closest coastline to the deserted island, but only a green protrusion can be seen from a distance on the sea level, indicating the desolation of that isolated island. In the tent set up by the filming team, director Yen Ming was staring at the monitor in front of him. Several drones disguised as seagulls are transmitting real-time monitoring footage. Surrounded by workers on boats, they are busy exploring the island with instruments and sound waves. Having achieved such a level, Yen Ming still frowned and felt a bit uneasy. Even when he exploded his car on a classic show before, he was not so nervous. And the source of these emotions is the uncontrollability of the deserted island. Even if he has rich experience in producing programs, it is difficult to ensure that everything is flawless. This time, it's not just about being strict with one's own program, but also about the official attention from Dragon Country behind the scenes. The official has issued numerous instructions in the program approval, with the principle of highlighting a truth. And Yen Ming should try his best to tear off the fig leaf of the celebrities and expose their true colors. All those additional script plotlines are completely non-existent. And in order to show the authenticity to the public, the official does not allow the program team to go to the deserted island in advance and make any arrangements. This also leads to the program team not having a deep understanding of this deserted island. Even Yen Ming only knew that the official had deliberately chosen this deserted island and had never set foot on it. This move would even make Yen Ming sweat a bit. In case there is anything on the island, how is the situation on the island? Yen Ming asked through the intercom. Soon, a voice disrupted by the sea breeze responded. Yen Dao, from the sound waves, we have indeed discovered many traces of biological activity. However, compared to the surrounding island's biota, there should not be any threat. I have also tried the live broadcast signal, and the picture is still quite clear. Except for occasional inexplicable interference with the signal, it seems like there's no problem. Listening to the news from the staff, Yen Ming's head turned big. What should and seems like? This type of word is the last thing he wants to hear now. However, the official does not allow early deployment of cameras on the island, as it may affect authenticity. I also have to do my best to ensure the safety of these guests. After all, which of these people we invited is not a celebrity with a large number of fans? This also leads to the program having to start recording. The specific situation on this deserted island is still black in my eyes. Thinking of these, Yen Ming let out a heavy sigh. I turned my head and glanced at the contract. According to the agreed date, those invited guests are coming tomorrow. Sigh, we can only take one step at a time to see. I hope nothing unexpected happens. Brother Qi, it seems like you're about to go to the island. That's all you brought with you. On the way to the 100 Days program group on the deserted island, the assistant was driving. Looking at the black backpack on the passenger side with a corner of his eye, he asked in surprise. As he just said, Su Qi is carrying a black and golden ancient sword on his back. The only personal belongings are the things in this bag. At this moment, Su Qijing was sitting in the back seat of the nanny car, with his eyes closed and his mind focused. And the assistant continued to chatter. You said our company is really good, and we don't arrange personal delivery either. In the end, I have to be the driver. I really don't know what they think. Then he glanced at the navigation again and suggested. Hey, Brother Qi, we're going to pass by that market later. Do you want to stop buying anything? Suchi only felt that the assistant was quite noisy. Under the hoodie, a pair of cold eyes peeked out and looked out the car window. Sure enough, we have arrived near the survival equipment market again. And as they were about to go to the island, fans were still flocking here. Even more than before. Seeing those crowds has already made Su Qiwang hesitate. Moreover, what I am currently wearing is the navy blue hoodie. A few days have passed. Searching for the guy who broke into the camera of Passersby, this topic is still firmly on the hot search list. No need, Su Chi said lightly. At the same time, a premonition arose in my heart. Since it is a survival on a deserted island, if the preparation work is done too much, it will inevitably be redundant. So, including the things inside the backpack, Su Chi has prepared a total of 12 items. Otherwise, if we had prepared large and small packages of supplies to bring over, with his strict temper, he is likely to be thoroughly searched by the program team. Meanwhile, the assistant seemed to have something to say. Su Chi simply pulled his hat and hid his face in the shadow. Continuing to lean back on the seat, he said lightly. Focus on driving and stop talking nonsense. Hey, Reba. A black nanny car was also driving on the road. The assistant looked at Reba, who was painting her wrist next to her, and said in confusion. This sunscreen is reserved for you to use on the island, why did you apply it now? Upon hearing this, Reba evenly rubbed the sunscreen onto her fair and tender arms. Smiling at the assistant, he said, you don't understand. Since it's survival on a deserted island, cosmetics are mostly not allowed. If I don't use it now, I'm afraid I'll be directly confiscated by the production team later. The assistant was also a bit surprised and said, no way, female celebrities are not allowed to wear cosmetics. Is it really fake? Reba nodded confidently, very certain of her guess. I have filmed a variety show with strict guidance before, and the requirements are really quite strict. So there's really no need to prepare too much. Upon hearing this, the assistant couldn't help but pout, feeling a little heartbroken. Turning to the outside of the car window, he reminded. Look, Sister Reba, this is the place we visited last time. I was thinking of buying you something else to bring with me. After applying sunscreen, Reba turned her head to take a look. Passing by outside the car window was the survival equipment market she had been to last time. Looking at the fans coming and going, Reba suddenly remembered the scene of the group photo at that time. And the mysterious little brother who was searched all over the internet. The lonely figure of navy blue once again appeared in Reba's mind. Reba couldn't help but mutter to herself. Who? You said that man. At this moment, the assistant was somewhat gambling and said, Sister Reba, whenever I mention that person, I get angry. Is he disconnected from the internet at home? You've been speaking for him in the comments section, but this person didn't even respond. If I were to meet him again, I would definitely say a few words about him. Upon hearing this, Reba couldn't help but cover her mouth and chuckle lightly, trying to calm the assistant's emotions. And as two nanny cars drove forward and backward towards the production team. Other guests are also on their way.